George, those were some films that I very much enjoyed talking about.
Thank you very much.
Now it's time, as always with every week, to go to our listeners who write into the show to hello@pulpkitchenpodcast.com, just like Matthias did. Matthias?
I'd say Matthias.
Bit of a hard T in there. He says, hello, James and George. Matthias from Belgium here. Belgium.
Matthias, yeah.
A big movie enthusiast and new listener who's only just discovered your podcast, but is loving every new episode of it.
Great.
During the couple of episodes that I've already listened to, I heard you guys praise There Will Be Blood as one of the greatest films of the century. As it was a film that had been on my watch list for some time, I decided to give it a go. Ooh. While I definitely enjoyed the story and thought the acting was outstanding, I didn't get the same level of excitement from it that you guys display and wondered if there was something I might have missed. After doing some research and reading some opinions online, I found that there were several layers to the movie that I didn't really pick up on. This got me thinking, are there any movies you guys recommend to begin the journey to a more critical way of watching and experiencing movies? Thank you in advance for the answer and keep up the great content. I'm recommending you guys to every other movie lover I know. Why every other?
No, yeah, every
other.
Not every other. Yeah, every.
You wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But
you don't get it. You get it. But I want to listen.
No,
not you.
I think I'm being pedantic. But George, There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, so There Will Be Blood. It's interesting you bring that up because I rewatched it this weekend. You might have heard us talking about it. Oh, by the way, I don't think we said it was one of the best films this century.
It has often been described.
Oh, right. I see. Thank you.
Oh, no, sorry. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah. And it was like rated as such. There Will Be Blood. So I rewatched it this weekend for the fourth time.
Nice.
The last time I watched it would have been about 6 years ago.
Yep.
No, 5 years ago. You know me with dates, I'll remember.
Yeah.
5 years ago. So it's a good amount of time. Things might have changed. And I was watching it because, as I previously mentioned on another episode, my girlfriend hadn't seen it. And I was genuinely really interested to see what she thought about it. Because it's not her kind of film. It does have one female character in. Yeah. She has about 2 lines, but it's not great at selling to the other half.
Yeah, it can be stuffy and slightly intense.
Yes, and it's a very mean male kind of film, isn't it?
Yes, aggressive.
Aggressive. Anyway, but we sat down to watch it and we watched it. So your question, Matthias, is kind of apt because you've just watched it for the first time. My girlfriend's just watched it, and I've watched it for the 4th time. My impression coming out of it, I mean, actually, my impression 15 minutes in was like, I fucking love this film. Good. And it's definitely, it just immediately, like 15 minutes in, it was like, right up there. It's one of my favorites. I think this is one of the best fucking films ever made.
Is that during the I'm an Oil Man speech?
No, it's actually, it's before that. It's the 15-minute prologue where there's no dialogue. Where it's just the Johnny Greenwood,
Yes, yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. And then that obviously escalated with every single scene that followed. I love it. I found it just so hypnotic and it just captures you. And like, the thing is about There Will Be Blood is that it's one of those things that you just can't quite explain in a way.
The way it makes you feel.
Exactly, because it looks like a conventional film.
Yeah.
It's about conventional things. It's about a story you can understand. It's set in a real time and it's a period piece, all that stuff. But it's presented in such a distinctive, weird, but not like it's not so weird that you can draw it out and go, wow, it's a bit weird. It's like it's so close to normal that it's almost normal, but it's not normal. It's just slightly off.
Nobody really acts like a human being. Everyone is sort of slightly off and disgusting. And
well, I think for me, what I started to realize is it's like everything is heightened to the point of where it's like a religious painting. Everything is like religious symbolism. Everything is big, and it's like they took this really dense novel and stripped it down to the most basic themes. Not basic things, but and thought, well, let's do less is more, and let's just make it really grand. And
it's like an epic.
Yeah, so they thought let's make the imagery huge and really striking, and some of the images are great. I love it's almost like religious scale, like I said, images with at the beginning when they've tested for the oil and the thing comes out and he wipes his hand down it and his hand's black and he shows it like that.
Yeah.
And it's like
holding up a commandment from God.
It's like 2001 with the bone or with the monolith. And then the whole section where I'm going to talk about this, in pretty much spoiler territory.
Spoilers for There Will Be Blood.
So if you haven't seen There Will Be
Please
Blood,
go
and watch it or skip ahead. This has been out for 15 years, but the whole section with the where the derrick explodes and you've got the gas and the flames.
Oil flying through.
Yeah, and it's like this is like huge imagery, cinema on a huge scale, and the whole the whole bit of that sequence where he's running with HW and he's covered with oil and it's catching fire, and the music, I hadn't realized how percussive that scene is. It's like, sorry, that sounds like beatboxing. It's like, and the camera's like moving up, men like running into the frame. There's something about the way it's just like pure cinema, and I was just loving it. I was there from the moment I watched it. My girlfriend, when I said like, it's quite a peculiar film, I think that's her experience, because she did not like it, but I think she spent the days. It stayed with her the days since.
It's sticky like the oil.
But it's like, it's that thing where you see a film that looks. I think her brain is going, well, that looks like a normal film. And I was watching that as if it was a normal film. But it's not a normal film. It's presented much more differently. So once you adjust to the peculiarity of it, she's already saying, I think I need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Because when you go and watch again, you know what to expect. I think you'll get so much more out of it. And I remember when I first watched it, I was probably about 15 with my parents. We all had that experience, which is like, we were really into that. We're really engaged, but I don't really know what it's doing, what
exactly
it's about.
What Matthias said. There's probably elements that we've missed, which isn't. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
But what I got out of the fourth time watching it was like, I just love that. I mean, if you want to read into it, like, I just love how it's just like a grudge match between religion and capitalism for the blood of the nation. You've got these things in the right corner. You've got religion, and in the left corner you've got capitalism, and what will happen when these two things fight, who knows, but guess what, there will be blood. And I was like, that's what the title means to me, there will be blood. That is the clash.
And how they both wonderfully exploit each other to get where they need to be, Paul Dano uses what's face's capital to get
Eli
the church.
uses Plainview's
and then same again, like he's like, okay, well, if we can just get the church to get everyone to come and do what I need them to do, then so forth. They're both using each other.
He only gets Eli to come and say something once someone's died down there. So I love some of the other like religious imagery as well. Like when there's like a baby, the young HW at the beginning, they like the father blesses him, puts like a bit of oil on his forehead because it's like this thing they found. And I find it interesting that the in terms of like the way biblical storytelling is done, the discovery of oil down that well and the celebration that causes is then juxtaposed with like the discovery of a child. It's like this child is then thrust upon him, this baby.
Which he uses like a prop.
And yeah, exactly. And it's like, is he going to like on the one hand, you've got the child trying to pull him in the direction of the light. And then you've got on the other hand, this oil, which is like the blood of the land, literally pouring up. The imagery is so striking. And just the performance.
One of the great modern actor performances of all time.
I mean, Paul Dano for one thing.
Especially for his age, incredible.
He's
Burst
got that whispering talk. That's Meryl Streep, actually. Sorry.
We've always described impressions as like a spectrum, but it's like you can drift into.
Get out, demon, get out. Oh, Daniel.
Do you have God in your soul?
You have abandoned your child.
And then say it louder. You have abandoned your child.
And Daniel Day-Lewis just doing a performance that is so
endlessly rewatchable,
and it just absolutely makes you stick to your chair.
Yeah,
it fixes you in the spot, and there's nothing quite like it. And just that, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm an oil man, you'll have to agree. The booming
and the way that he scans the room and looks across, and
Eli stands up and says, "Will the new well lead to the church?" That's exactly where it'll lead, Eli. That's right. He says that so many times in the film, and someone asks him something, he goes, "That's right. Yes." Sorry.
So I was going to say, like, exactly that. And someone once described his performance as even at Daniel Plainview's politest, he is violently impatient. Oh, yeah. He's always on the verge of just like, I just have to say what I have to say to get people to do what I want them to do. And then that culminates in the I've abandoned my child scene, where it starts off as I'm just going to say,
give me the blood, Eli, give me the blood.
Feed me the line, feed me the line. And when it comes to the point where he's forcing him to confront, he's like, and it's like, I've abandoned my child.
Yeah.
It's just
he hates the fact that Eli's got to him.
And it's impossible to look away from that scene. It's so good. I always get, whenever I get Daniel Plainview monologue on my social feeds, I'll stop and watch it. I cannot not watch this.
And the bit where he's first asked to buy the Sunday Ranch, which is where Eli lives, he's talking to the father, and then like Eli, off the corner of his shoulder, is just like, "What about our oil?" And he's like, "What about it?" "Yep. Okay." And he's like, "What would you do with the money for the oil?" And he's like, "I build a church." And like he almost wants to laugh, and he goes, "That's good." Yes, that's good. Like
The Church of the Third.
Yeah, the third revelation.
And
then I realized when it builds to the end, just a great, because the whole film is like a well. It's like shaking about a pressure cooker.
And often does.
And it builds to just, and we've talked about like one of the best endings we can think of in films. And obviously a spoiler, but what I realized is in the end, when you have that whole scene of, I am the third revelation, is that he kills Eli. And it's like, actually, you've got this very sort of binary battle that's actually everything settled in the right place, because then Eli is then a martyr for his own religion, and Daniel has taken his place rightly as the devil. But it's like he's happy because he got everything. Yeah. Eli gets to be the martyr for his cause, but Daniel gets to, that's what he says, I'm done, I'm finished, because he's done it. He's able to get everything. I mean, there is stuff in it that you could just pick apart for hours, and I'm like, even talking about There Will Be Blood is so hard, but like it's just honestly, I finished it, and then when I thought about trying to explain it, I just thought, you know what, I'll just watch it again. Yeah. I just if you're struggling to talk about it, just go watch it again, because it's just brilliant, and the Johnny Greenwood score is great.
It's one of those select films that I feel like you could just dissect every single minute of it. You just take a minute and talk about it endlessly.
I think There Will Be Blood will make a fantastic double bill with Tar. Right? Yeah. They are both
great shout.
Portrayals of tyrants in a very sort of hyper-specific world.
Yeah.
By a director who's got real, teeth behind them. And, both films, There Will Be Blood and Tar, have that thing, like I was just saying, okay, this is about, I thought this story was going to go one way, and I thought this story was much more understandable than it is, but actually what Todd Field does and what Paul Thomas Anderson does is just fill it full of nuance and chop it up to make it such a more strange beast. And There Will Be Blood is strange, and Tar is really strange. I think actually side by side, you're like, oh, these are really interesting portrayals of villains and tyrants together. So, but man, what a movie.
So we like it, Matthias.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but what I will say, Matthias, is I imagine that there'll be a couple of years' time. Could be 5 years, could be 10 years, could be 3 months. You'll go, I think I might rewatch There Will Be Blood. And you'll do it, and you'll go, oh.
Oh, yeah, there'll be more, yeah.
Also, just such a great year. The film that always gets mentioned in the same breath as that is No Country for Old Men, which came out the same year, and it was between those two.
Same location as well.
You what?
I think they were shot in the same location, similar location, same state.
And I kind of hold them in my mind similarly, but like that's a harder sell. My girlfriend was like, "Oh, would I like that?" I'm like, "That's really violent." Like the first 5 minutes of No Country for Old Men are really brutal.
Very, but brilliant.
Oh, excellent film.
Moody, and we could go on again.
Anyway, shall I read another email?